there's just so many avenues you can go down. And I know plenty of people that, they've been in the field for 5, 10, 15 years. And they said, well, I think I'm done turning wrenches, and they go into the office.
Sure.
There's so many avenues you can go down, whether that's in the office or starting your own company or, starting a consulting firm. The world is your oyster, whatever you want to put into it.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group. I am your host, Matt Allred. In this podcast, we talk to the people whose lives and careers are dedicated to the vertical transportation industry to inform and share lessons learned, building upon the foundation of those who have gone before to inspire the next generation of elevator careers. When talent is mission critical, call the Allred Group. With industry expertise, top talent, and exceptional customer service, you need the Allred Group on your side. Your priority is their priority. Call now, 404-890-0445. What if the only thing between you and a great career was showing up with the right attitude? In this episode, I talk with Ryan Jones, an elevator pro whose journey started with a little bit of encouragement from his then girlfriend's dad and grew into a full-blown career in the trade. Ryan's story is a reminder that no one starts out knowing everything, but those who bring a desire to learn can go far. From climbing into escalator pits to reprogramming controllers, Ryan shares the hard-earned lessons, funny moments, and the mindset that keeps him passionate about the elevator industry. Well, Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Always a pleasure. I enjoy these conversations. I enjoy talking to people like yourself that have interesting, fascinating, just the careers in the elevator industry and the people that do them is a lot of fun for me. So, remind me, you're in Denver, Colorado, right?
Yep, I'm in Denver. Been in the trade coming up on 10 years now.
Cool. How did you get started in the first place? What was it that kind of made that happen for you?
Well, I was dating a pretty girl, and her dad was like, "Hey, man, I think you might be able to do this." And I provided, for my family for however many years, and it's done well for me. So I ended up marrying her, got in the trade, and the rest is history, I guess.
Right. No, I mean, those family connections work for a lot of people, and even if you have to marry into them to make them family, right? It worked out.
Yeah, it did. Definitely.
Yeah. Had you ever thought of elevators prior to that? Had it even crossed your mind?
No, they were just a magic box.
Right.
That's it. Never thought about the people who worked on these. Figured it was a general contractor, or maybe an electrician or something.
Yeah. What kind of work were you doing prior to that?
Anything from building decks to excavation to general construction. Just trying a few things out before I found what I really wanted to do.
Gotcha. So when did it click? I mean, I'm sure there was some question about, I don't know, do I really want to work on those? I mean, these magic boxes.
Yeah. I mean, it took a couple of years, and the first year was, construction, just like I think it's one of the better routes for people to come through, figure out how things work from the ground up. And after that first year, I ended up working on some escalators. And that was pretty intimidating.
Tell me more about that. What's the most intimidating about those?
Well, you just see all these stairs and teeth and gears and a lot of heavy machinery, and not as many sensors as you think to, protect you as like an elevator would.
Right.
You got to crawl down in these things to clean them out. It was more than I bargained for. That's at that point.
I've heard, they're different animal, obviously different game, but I get in the Atlanta airport and I'm looking at, okay, there's about 500 people on this escalator, it's hauling us to the top of the tunnel. And I'm like, man, if that were to ever break, I mean, it'd be a nasty slippery slide.
Just definitely not good.
Yeah. So glad I have people like you out there working on them, keeping them up and running. And so it sounds like escalators are maybe not your favorite thing.
No, well, I didn't have much experience on them. I ended up moving back from Salt Lake after I got in the trade and left that venture behind. So it was short lived, but I didn't hate it.
Gotcha. Well, you just said more than I bargained for, so I was curious. But I'm sure it's a eye-opening experience to crack one of those open and climb down in the pit, and who knows what you're going to find down in there.
Yeah, yep, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So back from Utah, and haven't really done a lot of escalator since.
No, never really had the opportunity. Busy doing other projects, and we have some guys that are really good at escalators, and if that's what they want to do, more power to them.
I know there's a lot of them out at DIA, whatever, right? A lot of areas in and around Denver that I used to live out there 20 years ago. So I know
Okay,
they're out
there's
there.
probably a few more than you remember.
I'm sure there are. Absolutely. So you said it took a couple of years for it to click. What was it that kind of, you know, I guess came to life for you? It was like, yeah, this is what I was looking for, even though it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it was a couple years in construction, and then I moved into a modernization department with a guy who was getting ready to retire,
Okay.
and just seeing the ins and outs, and how you have to make the old work with the new, and how it can be a challenge more so than um, different than construction. I enjoy that aspect of making the old stuff run, keeping those going while you're trying to put some new stuff in the building and figure out how to make the old stuff work with
Sure.
these new equipment that you want. You want it to make it, smoother. You want to make it look new. Figuring out how to make all that happen was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a mod kind of came to life for you. That's cool. I've been told that it's, more complex. Obviously, I've never done a mod, so I don't have any experience, but it makes sense to me. Yeah, if you're trying to marry up old and new and they're 30 years different, and did the controllers even talk to each other? Do they not?
Make some I/O boards and these inputs, fire those outputs. You make them talk eventually.
That's cool. I mean, just because of the creativity, right, that it takes to get the message across. I mean, I guess I didn't didn't realize you were making the boards and kind of. I guess that's when they're talking about prints, right? If you can get the print, then you you know fix anything. Is what I've been told. That kind of the
Some
same
guys
idea.
can't.
It's
So
cool.
yeah, it's a
You
lot
get
of
a
fun creating circuits, and one of the big ones like fire service to overlay, make sure that things are happening. You know, your supervisor gives you a pile of relays and bases and says, "Can you make it work?" I guess we have to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and obviously you got a team, and you got people you can call on, and so as a team, right? If you can't figure it out, I mean, especially when you're new, I don't know at what point they turn you loose on those. I guess once you get your license, but even then, there's going to be stuff you haven't seen or don't recognize. Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing more confident than a fourth year apprentice. He's seen everything, he knows everything, and then as soon as he turns out, it's like, "Oof, man, I need to review this my contact book and see who knows what again."
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, just kind of like, no more training reels, right? You're out there, what can
Yeah,
you do? Yeah, yeah. So, and that, yeah, I'm curious, how do you approach, the training, the mentoring of apprentices? I'm sure you've had a few come through. What to you is most critical to make sure that they're, ready for that fourth year?
I mean, as long as they have the want to, that's the biggest thing. We have a lot of guys that really want to, and it's
Hmm.
definitely appreciated. And then some, this is just another job, and it's just one of those things where it says, well, I can only teach you so much if you don't learn stuff on your own. I mean, you get out what you put in, right? So
For sure.
if you want to go home and study these prints and study the manuals, great. That you'll be a huge asset. And if you don't, some people can get away with it and still prove themselves pretty well without doing that. But um, yeah, the biggest thing for me is you have to want to.
Sure. For sure. Like in anything, right? But once you have that desire and once you really apply yourself, it just seems like it would open up all kinds of doors, right? You would have knowledge that nobody can force it into you. You got to consume it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there was plenty of classes offered through different employers on different products. I recommend people never turn any of those down. It's a feather in your cap. They can't take away from you.
Sure.
Um, that's
Yep.
that's a big one.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. This is Matt with a brief message from our sponsor. The Allred Group has been recruiting elevator industry talent for over 14 years. If you are looking to grow your business and hire great people, contact the Allred Group at allredgroup.com. That's ALLREDGROUP.com, and talk with Matt and his team about how they can assist you. And now, back to the show. What would you say is the most difficult part of the job? And maybe that changes over the years, but
For a while, it was customer relations. Coming from construction, it's like, well, a lot of construction language being thrown around, and um, that that's not going to fly in a fully occupied office building. When you're talking to nice people in suits and stuff like that. So that was a challenge for sure.
yeah,
And from then, just the every day, you're going to come up upon something where hopefully you can learn from it.
for sure. Yeah.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah. Did the customer relations piece ever bite you in the butt? Did you ever have any moments where like, um, whoops?
No, there was nothing that really jumped out. I I had some mentors who just said, "Hey, just I understand you're from construction, so let's just take a back seat. Just follow my lead." Okay, good enough.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. They saw you coming, right? Okay. You've been over there. Let's just have this
Yeah,
lesson before we get in front of anybody and we'll be okay. And,
yeah.
I mean, it probably didn't take long for you to realize, oh, this is a different conversation, right? This is,
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, night and day. And like you say, especially, fully occupied, you got people in and out and you're trying to do your work and they're trying to do theirs. And so it's a little different world than a completely empty construction environment.
Sure.
Yep. Yep. Tell me about one of the coolest projects you ever worked on. What was it that really stuck out to you?
Well, we had a project. It was two towers, 4 cars per tower, working on traction stuff, and the machine. We think of traction cars. Normally they're overhead. Well, these are all basement traction machines, and they the configuration setup was one where you couldn't pull the machines out of the machine room. You actually had to hoist the elevator above the first floor, stick a beam in the hole, hoist it up, put it out on the first floor, take it out through the lobby, and do the same thing with the new one. Um, Between the logistics and trying to explain to the customer, this is why we're going to be shutting down this lobby for a
Right.
few hours this day. Um, it was unique. It was unique.
Sounds very unique. So when you say basement units, not being an elevator expert myself, does that mean the machine rooms in the bottom versus up on the roof? Is that
That's exactly right.
okay? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to think what the ropes do, right? Because I have seen them, kind of up and over, and here's the counterweight. So if machine rooms down there, is it just looped a few more times? It still goes up and down, or was it something different altogether?
Yeah, I mean, from the counterweight, went up over a shiv, down to the drive shiv, which is the machine, and then back up over a couple more deflectors and out to the car.
Interesting. Okay.
So a lot more cable than a
I was going to
regular.
say, it sounds like, yeah, a lot more rope going on for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Certainly a challenge, and like I say, certainly something you learn from. Um, so I did want to ask you a little bit about, one of the things that I've run into a lot, and I think a lot of people do, just in the elevator industry. It is a specialty. It is very niche, and so there seems to be a shortage. Certain jobs, certain cities, certain times, certain places. Whether it's, I mean, I hear it all the time from residential companies just having a hard time. What would you say are the challenges that you see when it comes to recruiting new talent?
Well, I mean, our outreach is there. It's no longer a secret. You don't have to know your brother-in-law
You
or
don't
your
have to marry into
father-in-law
the
to get
family
in.
to get hires.
No, no.
Okay.
Sometimes it does make it easier.
Right.
Uh, so outreach isn't really the problem. I think some of it is we have trouble explaining what it is we do day to day.
Hmm.
I'm sure it could be intimidating to a lot of applicants or people who would be applicants. That's a big challenge. Everyone says, "Well, man, it's got to be a tough job." I'm like, "Well, for some people it is. For some people it isn't. Maybe this is your thing."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then through our recruitment process, there is such a long wait period from when you interview to when you may get called.
Hmm.
Um, some people find other jobs that they really enjoy. So
For sure.
that's, a candidate that would have been really good. And he says, well, I found something else. So,
Yep. Yep. No, that makes sense. What would you say is the one of the most important attributes that somebody would need to have to be successful, to do what you do?
again, the want to and, just basic understanding of tools. There's nothing more frustrating. It's like, no, I need this wrench. They hand you a screwdriver or something. I mean, there's some wild folks out there. They just don't get it. And they just never had that upbringing. That's okay.
Sure.
It takes all
Sure.
kinds.
Yeah. Yeah. Some basic skills, here's a tape measure, here's how you read it, right? Some things like that um work. But like you said, it's really that want to. I mean, even if the person that doesn't know what a screwdriver is or how to read a tape measure, with a want to, they can learn it. They can
Absolutely.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you work for some big companies and a smaller, more independent company. What would you say are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed?
Well, I mean, the bigger companies, they offered more training on their
Mhm.
products
Okay.
because, it's national or international companies most of the time that, they want people to install their stuff and install it well. So that's something I really appreciated. And then, smaller companies, when you call into the call center, oh, hey, Ryan, how's it going? It's not, oh, well, can I get your employee ID number?
Sure.
So that's the big one for me, just the culture of, everyone is on the same team and, you know, we have the same goal in mind. That's important.
Yep. Yep. And I do hear that. Just like I said, kind of the culture, the community, the camaraderie. Just like I say, knowing you're on the same team. So very cool. What would you say makes the elevator industry unique compared to other trades? Obviously, you're often rubbing shoulders with or bumping into all kinds of trades on construction sites or
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's just so much to do in this trade, whether it be stacking rails, building car slings, pulling wire, terminating wires, wiring things up, troubleshooting, adjusting. But then there's, the side of, well, are you going to be the hydraulic guy? Deal with more tank units, stuff like that, or you want to be a traction guy? And then there's, even lulas, and residential lifts, and there's just so many avenues you can go down. And I know plenty of people that, they've been in the field for 5, 10, 15 years, and they said, well, I think I'm done turning wrenches, and they go into the office.
sure.
There's so many avenues you can go down,
Yeah.
whether that's in the office or starting your own company or starting a consulting firm. It's the world is your oyster, whatever you want to put
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. Well, it's wide open. Like I said, especially as you dig in, you feel comfortable, you feel confident. I mean, yeah, you could do all kinds of, consulting, inspecting, whatever the case may be, whatever you like. And it sounds like it's never boring, right? There's always something new to learn. There's always something different to do. Um, Seems like it's definitely keeps you engaged and yeah, and not
Yeah,
bored. What
it'll
would you
keep
say?
you on your toes.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's got to, right? Because it's high risk, right? If you're not on your toes, you might end up losing one or worse, right? You got to be paying attention.
Yeah,
Yeah. What would you say keeps you passionate about the industry?
I'd say just that. I mean, there's always something new to learn. Whether you've gone through the field and you feel like maybe that's not your thing, and you'd like to learn maybe the business side of it, or if you go through and you say, you know what, I feel like I've really got a grasp on this, and maybe I'd like to give back and kind of teach, in our industry as well. There's so many options you have.
Yep, absolutely. So, as we're kind of getting towards the end of our time here, last question I want to ask is, what advice would you give to somebody who's either brand new or maybe they're just considering, maybe they're on the fence, just thinking, is that something really that I really want to do?
Yeah. I mean, the thing I tell my new apprentices is, hey man, you're not expected to know anything. I need you to know some wrenches, basic hand tools, but I don't need you to know how to work on an elevator, build an elevator. That's okay. That's what you're expected to do. I just need you to be here and want to. That's it.
That's cool. I mean, it's obviously a huge thing to just show up, have the right desire, right? And the fact that you're not expected to know everything is probably a good thing, right? Otherwise, you'd get somebody who's, oh, I know how to do this, right? Only to mess something up or.
Well, yeah, we've had those people.
I imagine you have had some of those people, and maybe it doesn't last super long if they can't learn to be humble enough to be taught.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Learning how to learn is really important in any aspect of life, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else you want to share before we close out?
Not too much. Final words, just you get out what you put in.
Well said. Well said. Ryan, thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group, a leader in elevator industry recruiting. Please visit our YouTube channel at Elevator Careers or check us out online at elevatorcareers.net. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.